Hello everyone, this is Laco S and welcome back to the Mirage 2000C. In this tutorial we're going to be covering the navigation equipment in the Mirage 2000C. I will say that we were not going to cover everything with the navigational equipment with the INS. The INS equipment will be regulated to another video, but we want to go over today the basic navigation equipment as well as basic use of the INS up here. First thing to do is to set up our navigation equipment. I like to do this on the ground because usually when I'm setting up my navigation equipment for the TACAN and VOR ILS, I am setting these two pieces of equipment up for navigating back to my home base. You can change these mid-flight. There's nothing saying you can't change these mid-flight, but it's a lot easier to do it on the ground while you're waiting, for instance, for your INS to set up. So, to find out your TACAN and VOR ILS information, you can go to your mission briefing, and it should be included there if the mission creator created a nice full briefing. Otherwise, if you need to know the TACAN station that you need to navigate to, you can go ahead and go to your F10 view, and on your F10 map, you will have access to the full map where there are navigation beacons included. For instance, here on Alminod Air Force Base, you have a beacon right next to it that is this triangle shape here with the squared off edges. This is your TACAN beacon. It has a Morse code identification of MIN, and it's on channel 99. Do keep in mind that you can also go to your airfield information here, and you can look up your ILS and you can look up your ILS information down here, as well as your ATC, your TACAN frequencies. You can look up all the information up here for the airport as well. So, since we're coming in to land on runway 27, we're going to put in 110.75 on the ILS for the ILS VOR receiver, and then we're going to put 99 X-ray into the TACAN. To show you what a VOR station what a VOR station looks like, a independent VOR station that is not attached to the ILS system, it will be indicated over here. So it'll be there we go, that's a good view of it, a square with a hexagon inside of it. And again, it'll be usually in the hundreds of megahertz. So it'll be 113.6 megahertz for this VOR station with a Morse code identifier of OMRK. So in fact, let's go ahead and navigate to this VOR station. Let's put that instead. And then midway through the flight, we'll swap over to the VOR beacon. So 113.60 and 113.60. Yep. TACAN is 99 X-ray. So you can use the VOR and TACAN, that's how you set them up. To turn on the VOR ILS system, you want to turn it from A, which it'll be on startup, to M. M is on, A is off. For TACAN, again, if you need to change TACAN band, by the way, it's the base of the left knob. To change the TACAN mode, it is the base of the right knob. Off is off. Receive accepts TACAN information, but since it cannot transmit TACAN information, it will not get range. TR is transmit receive, and it'll give you both range and bearing to the TACAN station, whereas receive only gives you bearing to the TACAN station. And air-to-air is for use with air-to-air frequencies, like if you're flying to a tanker. I should also note that down here, you can have there is this slot that's looks like it's kind of peeled up almost, or it's kind of pointing up. This is your MIP data cartridge slot. I will cover that in a separate video, but do know that it is a faster way to program the INS and it is especially useful for multiplayer servers. And I say that because the next topic is going to be our INS up here. INS. There is the basic operation here is you have prep. Prep allows you to basically view and edit waypoint information. So prep01 gives us information for waypoint 01, which is up here. If we go to prep02, it'll bring up the information now for waypoint 2. You can go, again, waypoint 3, have the information saved for waypoint 3 up there. Destination, however, sets the current active waypoint for your aircraft. So we can see down here on the INS, our current waypoint that we are heading to is waypoint 1. Also up on the HUD here, we have waypoint 1 here selected for our waypoint here on the navigation HUD. Go back down here. If we go to destination 02, if you did notice, this HSI shifted around a bit, and now we have up here 33 and 2. So it's 33 nautical miles and 2. I'll go over that a bit more again once we get up into the air, which we will starting now. Also, if you want to change waypoint, what waypoint you're selected, you can also go through here and use INS previous waypoint and next waypoint to increment the waypoint by 1. I use the I do actually have these INS waypoint selection buttons, previous and next, bound, just because it's a lot easier to adjust the waypoints that way than it is to go down to dest and type it in on the INS pad down there. And that is, by the way, important because the Mirage 2000C does not automatically switch over your waypoint. Alright, just setting up autopilot, some stuff for later on in the flight. Alright, let's take the active, and let's go. There we go. Alright, we're just gonna have the autopilot hold this attitude till we get to that altitude. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to cover HUD symbology later once we get to the next waypoint. So let's go down here instead to the HSI and point out some things here. In fact, we're going to shift over. There we go. So your HSI mode selector switch is here, and it bounces between your various HSI waypoint indication waypoints options here, as well as your navigation choice options here. The most important thing to note is that there is true heading and nav. The only difference between these two is whether or not it uses true heading or magnetic heading for your navigation. You can swap between the two right there for, again, true heading and just regular navigation. I would just leave it on regular navigation just to keep things simple. Also, you have TACAN. And you notice this giant arrow moves when I switch over to TACAN. That is because in TACAN mode, instead of the HSI navigating you to a waypoint, the HSI is now navigating you to the TACAN beacon. And as you can see, since the TACAN beacon is behind us, we are actually gaining distance, which is this little wheel up, this little indicator up here. This is your range to the waypoint or whatever you're navigating to. And again, the giant arrow with the hollow out center is where the heading to the next waypoint and or TACAN beacon is. So again, TACAN beacon down there, and our waypoint that is currently selected is dead ahead of us as the HSI arrow is pointing towards our heading up here. This is your heading, by the way, up here. So do keep that in mind. if you want to fly towards the target or towards your waypoint directly, you want to put this arrow up here straight ahead. This thin needle here is actually our ADI direction indicator. So our ADI is indicating, so our ADI, it's our ADF indicator. So the VOR station, which is effectively an ADF station, is currently has a heading to us of 55 degrees, and this VOR beacon, which is a non-directional beacon, is always displayed either in TACAN or nav mode. So no matter what mode I select, this arrow is always going to point towards the VOR station. So that's the one cool thing about having the VOR station set up that way, is that it is always going to be independently indicated down here on this HSI. Since we are currently at altitude and heading away from waypoint 1, and we don't want to get too far deep into the Persian Gulf, we're going to use our INS next waypoint button here to change our destination waypoint to 2. As you can see, it changes down here on the INS to a 2, as well as up here on the HUD. We're going to disengage autopilot, and on the HUD now, for the HUD symbology for your INS waypoint, you have this home icon here, or an icon that looks like a house. To head towards your next waypoint, you basically want to put the flight path marker inside that little upside down U / upside down how, oh sorry, not upside down U, that U indicator / the upside down house. And there we go. Okay, there we go. I can see on the HSI that the heading is at 40 degrees, or as was heading of 040. Sorry, we have 040-ish. It's like 055. There we go. And now that our heading tape here up here matches down here, the little house indicator also then matches up with everything. And now that our flight path vector is here, inside the house, we are now actually heading directly to the waypoint. And the waypoint is currently 41 nautical miles ahead of us. So we can go ahead, put our autopilot on and altitude hold on. Fly straight ahead here. And again, we can see now that the ADF beacon is now pointing, the ADF / VOR beacon is now pointing out, still roughly in the same position, because it's still kind of quite a bit far out, so it's not going to change all that much. But the TACAN beacon, because now we're flying more and more perpendicular to the station, is actually starting to peel off to the side. There you go. And that pretty much actually wraps up everything that you really need to know for basic navigation in the Mirage 2000C. You have a couple of other more advanced tools like air-to-ground radar for flying in heavy cloud banks and in the mountains and low bad visibility. There is also you can also use this VOR ILS system to navigate to a ILS beacon, and then you can use the ILS system to help you navigate to land onto the runway. Although that's more of a landing system, not really necessarily a navigation system. Also, the INS system up here. You can go ahead. You can use prep to add in or edit waypoints mid-flight. So if we want to go to, for instance, waypoint 08, we will see that waypoint 08 doesn't have any information inside of it, but you can go ahead and then just type in random gobbledygook like that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then like da-da-da-da-da, like that. And then you can just keep on like, you can actually then go ahead and then enter and then do, for instance, prep, and then you can do easting, and then, so you can program your waypoints into here. And then have fun with that. Also, setting prep to 0, gives your INS's current location. So if I go down here to the cockpit view, let's see here, is that... It's not... So this isn't quite the right format that the INS beacon, I believe, wants it? Or is it? Yeah, I do believe that this INS, this waypoint format isn't the same as the waypoint format up here, which is why there's a bit of discrepancy, but you can still see that this is roughly our current heading, or roughly our current position with the GPS coordinates both here and here. So prep 00 brings up your current location. And then prep whatever waypoint you want to select is your information for that waypoint again. Otherwise, to review it once again, for ILS, set your frequency down here. Set it to on to turn on the system. Set your TACAN station to TR. X-ray, whatever the ground station you want to navigate to is. And that's pretty much it for basic navigation in the Mirage 2000C. Do also note that up here on... Oh, there's one more thing. Oh, two more things. You will get a heading tape up here on your HUD for navigation mode, as well as your pitch ladder. So you have your pitch ladder, and then you have your heading tape up here. And if you need a backup compass, you have several options. You have your ADI here that shows you pitch, roll, and heading and all that kind of stuff down here on your main ADI right here. And here on this little sidewall here, you can pop out a emergency compass, and that'll also give you a rough heading to where you are going. So you can use the emergency compass, backup ADI, you can use the main ADI, HSI, all these tools to help you navigate around in the Mirage 2000C. And as we cross waypoint 2, I am going to go ahead and hit the INS next waypoint button and call it a video here. Until next time, this has been LockOS signing out from DCS World for the Mirage 2000C's navigation tutorial. In a future tutorial, I will cover a bit more advanced navigation. I definitely want to cover setting up the INS, programming it, and the like, as well as a video on programming data cartridges for quick and easy programming of the INS for multiplayer servers. So, until then, this is LockOS, signing out.